speaker is Markus Gnirck, or as he would like to call himself, G-Dog.
No, I don't really. Hi. Thanks, guys. Hi, Markus, Startupbootcamp FinTech co-founder. Great to be here. We're going to talk a bit about Singapore. I could just say it's amazing. Let's go have a drink. But I'd like to spend 1 minute why it's not too bad right now. We heard the whole day already today why Singapore is good and bad and MAS and all that stuff. So I think I wrap it up and try to give you a bit more insight, because I lived there now for the last year. I came there only a year ago to do FinTech in Singapore, Startupbootcamp FinTech. And there's lots of happening, but also lots of not happening, right? Let's be neutral and try to be objective about this and give you a bit more insights. It is probably the first country where the PM says something about the blockchain. Yeah? PM Lee said, I think a few weeks ago, that, hey, blockchain is important for trade finance. And it was just amazing to see even CoinDesk, the Bitcoin journal, picked it up and said, PM Lee something about blockchain, right? And this is, I think, one of the few areas in the world where you have such a close intersection between government and FinTech. London and New York have been really good with talent, which has been pushed into the market. Yeah. 50,000 people leaving HSBC, RBS, and Barclays brings talent, entrepreneurs into FinTech. We don't see the same happening in Singapore or Hong Kong. Looking at the stakeholders, you have startups, you have investors, you have the government, and you also have the incumbents, the banks. Yeah. So these are all the startups. I think there are 148 FinTech startups now in Singapore. I track around 350 in ASEAN at the moment. FinTech, 80% are in the seed or pre-seed stage. Different areas, lending, I think it's very famous areas like payments, lending, a bit of back office, a lot of retail banking, nothing exciting. So there are, for me, 3 waves of FinTech startups right now. Yeah. The first wave are the famous copycats. Let's take peer-to-peer from US to here to the region. Let's see how it works. Yeah. Let's take payments from UK here to the region, how it works. The second wave is just starting right now. The second wave is where actually people are leaving the bank to say, I worked in trade finance. I like to see how I can actually make it myself better. Or I used to be at Credit Suisse to do wealth management. I'm now starting a wealth management startup. This is really exciting times where actually the talent is leaving the bank to start something myself. The second wave. The third wave, probably next to 5 to 10 years, we see FinTech happening with intersections between FinTech, healthcare, FinTech, IoT, FinTech, so on and so on. Yeah? This is happening in the next 5 to 10 years. Again, Singapore and Hong Kong and others are very good because they're quite good ecosystems to really help the synergies across ecosystems. Second wave, just starting in Singapore. I get every morning at 8 a.m. a coffee with people who say, Markus, can I talk to you for a coffee? I work in Credit Suisse, I have an idea. So, yeah, okay, let's go for a coffee. Yeah. So I think it's really starting now where people are coming and want to do something. Not just Singapore, Indonesia, and Kuala Lumpur as well. Oh yeah, I just said that. Great. The banks, the incumbents, you have DBS doing something amazing, pre-accelerator. You have now UOB doing an accelerator. You have HSBC doing a very innovative innovation lab, yeah, and they still wear suits and ties in innovation lab. I've been there in this innovation lab, and as much as I like innovation labs, it does not look more innovative than my living room. Yeah. It is, I think, a strategy of the banks and of the government in Singapore to put the money into the innovation labs. For them, it's a holy grail of innovation. It is one part of the innovation strategy. It's one part of to say we have to educate our staff. We have to really take the people in our organization to the culture change programs. Innovation labs are helpful. But to say this is actually where startups will meet the banks, no. UBS has an innovation lab in the middle of nowhere in Singapore, somewhere in the jungle. They say they will have startups there? No. They have to go actually where the startups are and embrace the startup culture. Yeah. So I think innovation labs, you have now 10 or 15 in Singapore, are a good way to do something. But at the same time, I think it's almost too much and too many. This guy, my best friend, Mohanty, he is now the Chief FinTech Officer of the MAS, was announced in August this year. He leads the FTIJ, the FinTech Innovation Group of the MAS. It's an entry point to the MAS. And this is obviously the entire number of the 2 to 5 million that are out there. This money means nothing. Yeah? It's a nice marketing money Singapore put out there. The money spent already for the incumbents to actually support innovation labs and other activities, but it was just a nice marketing gig, in my opinion. Yeah. People came to Singapore to say, oh, this money's there. Startups called me, Markus, can we get this money? No, you can't. It is for the incumbents. MAS can't fund startups, full stop. Mohanty and this team, Roy and Paul, I think are there to really knock on the doors of MAS first. they're doing something right now with MS, which is what banks have done the last 5 to 10 years, to really go through the cultural change in the MS first. Yeah? To say, hey guys, in regulatory departments, in the R&D departments, there's something happening outside MS we have to look at. So we have a lot of hope on these guys, or Mohanty especially. They're focusing internally first. Yeah? We will see a lot of announcement happening next year. They have the API sandbox coming. They have like a big FinTech show coming up. They have like a green lane for licensing to really help startups get a license quicker. But first, they have to work internally. They have to work on this dinosaur of MAS, yeah, which is like FCA and any other regulator out there. We have to start internally first. Yeah. So I really think they're going to do something good next year. But at the same time, let's see what actually happens internally first. Yeah. My take. The challenge is talent. There was no crisis, as I say. I mean, Standard Chartered now is luckily firing every 4th MD in Standard Chartered, yeah, in Singapore, which I think is actually not too bad for startups because all the talent comes into the ecosystem with knowledge and actually an understanding what's going on. Scale is very tough. You can't scale from Singapore to Malaysia. Different culture, different regulatory environment, different kind of behavior of people and customers. So by saying ASEAN is one country or Asia is one country, no. I've seen it now many times. Startups try to scale, and it's so tough. And it really requires a lot of marketing and go-to-market efforts to acquire new customers in Thailand and Malaysia. It's easy if you're B2B, but if you're B2C, it's not too easy. Gray zone regulations, I think similar here. It's peer-to-peer lending, it's not regulated. Crowdfunding just is okay. So it's still a lot of gray zone where regulators are just catching up. Series A crunch, I skipped this one. And smart money is coming. It's coming, but most of the VCs are looking into e-commerce, into gaming. They're used to having an exit after 3 years. Yeah? E-commerce startup, easy to scale, here we go, bam, gaming, yes, let's go. But FinTech, 3, 5, 10 years, it takes a bit longer. Yeah? And I don't think VCs are ready yet to accept the FinTech timelines. Opportunities, MAS, as I said, I think we'll see a few things coming up in the next few weeks, actually, Mohanty said. Early stage funding, every startup in Asia, Southeast Asia at least, is right now coming to Singapore to get funded. That's because there are 25 VCs who have been subsidized by the government to put money into startups. We had in the last 3 months 200 Indian startups coming to Singapore to raise funds in Singapore. Yeah. So Indian startups are coming a lot to Singapore because of this reason. Institutions are opening up. I think there is a lot of stuff happening around Singapore, the hinterland, Malaysia, Indonesia, very good markets, but still not really tapped into. I'm personally very busy right now to build bridges between Kuala Lumpur, Jakarta, and Singapore to find. I dream of this ASEAN banking license or the ASEAN remittance license. If a startup gets a license in Singapore, it has the same with the OKJ in Jakarta or the same license with the Malaysia Commission. That would be perfect. One license for ASEAN. That would be great. And then also I think inbound, I see a lot of startups coming from China. They don't go to Hong Kong. They go to Singapore. I see Australian startups coming to Singapore. TransferWise, a lot of UK and Canadian and American startups coming to Singapore to enter the region there. That's quite nice. I don't spend too much on this. This is actually another presentation. It's a bit more intellectually FinTech because I quite dig deep. I think the most important on the left is a B2B focus, and I said already on the panel that I see in Singapore and Hong Kong, other markets, the focus is on B2B. That's where the future is for FinTech. That's where you as a startup actually have a chance to play. Asset management, they have the same issues here in Singapore and in New York. You can easily scale across these different regions. You see in the middle consolidation happening. You have challenger banks coming up. You see actually groups buying startups to build platforms to look at the bigger picture, B2C, and then on the right side, Alibaba, and Google are coming in with entire ecosystems. So I think that's for me what's happening next. B2B Singapore, B2C Malaysia, Indonesia, but it's still all very young. I think that's kind of my take on it. I believe accelerators, what we do, and innovation labs are the start for education purposes, but there's so much more you can do. And if we have the knowledge from the banks coming out and actually sharing with the startups, you can create wonderful products that really solve big problems. All right, thanks. That was my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Markus. Yeah.